Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrac and Kole. This podcast is a conversation between two business partners, Joanne Kandrac and Kelly Kole. Join us for a lively conversation about all things interior design, from current projects, trade show experiences, worldwide travel, what's in, what's out, and all the challenges and wins they've had running their successful design business. Whether you're a seasoned interior designer, new to the industry, or a creative enthusiast, you will walk away with insightful information, newfound inspiration, and a smile on your face after listening to these two. And here they are, Joanne and Kelly.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is episode 201 of Inside Design with Kandrac and Kole, and today we are talking about the state of our industry with our guest, Caroline Hipple. But before we get into all that, I have a few shout outs. So I was in Guatemala last week when we recorded, and Joanne was solo hosting.
It's the first time in 6 years that I was by myself.
Believe it or not, she was nervous, which I can't even believe.
I know. I generally don't get nervous.
Yeah.
But by the time it was over, my hands were clammy. My pits were sweating a little bit, which never happens.
Yeah. But I came back and I listened to it, and it is such a great episode with Edward Lehman, who's the chief brand officer at California Closets. He is a wisdom, a library of just incredible knowledge. So go back and listen to that. It's episode 199, right? Yep. And then second shout out to both of us. We just got our first national cover. We are featured. Our Kiowa project is 10 pages, gracing the pages of Southern Home magazine. It is on newsstands now. It will be there through August. So we are
the July-August issue.
July-August issue. We are so proud. It is such a beautiful, beautiful magazine. And we are thrilled. We love working in Charleston and in Kiowa. We're hoping to do a lot more work there. And so we're thrilled with this feature and quite proud of ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was an amazing project all the way around.
Yeah. Okay. So back to business after all that good news.
Good news.
Yes. Okay. So today we are thrilled to have a very close friend on the show for the second time. Caroline Hipple is a force to be reckoned with in the furnishings world. And today we're going to tap into her wisdom and get her insights into the state of our industry as we head into summer. So
before we get started with our conversation with Caroline, I'd like to tell you that this episode is sponsored by Curry & Company, one of our favorite lighting sources. They're an Atlanta-based second-generation family-owned company. They carry in-stock lighting, upholstery, and a broad range of statement-making accessories. So if you're attending the Atlanta or Las Vegas markets, Curry & Company is an absolute must to put on your agenda. They debuted around 300. It's amazing. They're always coming out with so much new product. They debuted 300 new products this spring.
Yep.
Lighting, furniture, and accessories. And their first ever bath vanities will be on display as well.
I'm excited about
that too. So most importantly, Curry & Company has a brand new website.
It's
with
nice.
a lot of new features. I mean, you know, as a designer, when you're looking for product and you have to go through a lot of searching, it's time. So they've made it so easy. They have a couple of things. They have a true freight calculator because freight is inevitable in our business. And so whether you're paying 8%, 15%, it really makes a difference. They have another feature that gives you a configuration for multi-drop pendants.
Yeah, because those are hard to order.
Tricky. And they made the search so much easier and the ability to make project boards.
I like that. Yeah.
Live inventory, shipping within 48 hours, and in-stock products make last-minute pieces very easy to get. So check them out at curryandcompany.com or visit them at Market.
For sure. It's a not miss. All right. So back to Caroline. I'm sure that many of you listening know exactly who she is, but in case you're listening and you don't, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. She is an industry strategist, adventurous merchant, culture advocate, and fearless problem solver who currently serves as the Chief Creative Officer at Hooker Furnishings. Hooker celebrates its 100th anniversary this year. Big deal, as a leading supplier for furnishings for the total home. So, but prior to Hooker, you may have known her. She served Norwalk Furniture for 16 years with her business partner, Dixon Bartlett, as consultants in its reinvention and as president, culminating in paying the investors through the creation of a 100% ESOP in which the employees now own the company. That's just beyond huge. So if you don't know, Norwalk is also a leading custom upholstery specialist. So she is a confessed textile nerd, which is why we love her so much. And she and Dixon travel the world in search of the best palette of designs and color and resources that suit the moment while surprising and delighting the customers they serve. With Dixon, she has headed the textile programs for 4 companies and over several decades. So Caroline is passionate about supporting the industry and women's role in it through board service, past and present, in numerous associations. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And so for all this, the bottom line is she's constantly honored. I mean, constantly honored with industry awards, speaking engagements. And so she's just the queen of the home furnishings industry. And so we're so excited to talk to her again.
Such a great mentor.
Yes.
And person that so many people look up to in our industry, for sure.
So, hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm so glad to be here. I'm sitting in the Hooker showroom, and I wish you could see how beautiful it is, the light streaming in. It's a beautiful day in High Point, and I'm so glad to see you all and be with you all this morning.
That looks like a very cool space you're in. Oh,
what's that?
Well, of course. That looks like a very cool space you're in. Is that where like people can come and hang out or work with their laptops or?
They can, but also we have seminars during market time and off market. Like HBXD will have events here off market for designers. But also during market, it's kind of an amphitheater. So we have speakers and education and awareness, but also our company will have we just had our color council meeting here last week, and the tables were full, and we were, collecting the collective wisdom from around the world from our merchants and devising what we think are the color palettes for the next couple of seasons. So that's how we use this.
So cool.
So happy to see color coming back. So you recently left Norwalk to become the CEO of Hooker. So there's been a lot of movement lately, it feels like, in our industry. Neil McKenzie left Universal to go to Regina Andrew. You have moved. Yep. And then most recently,
Rick Lovegrove moved from Four Hands to
Universal.
Yep.
So should designers be like a little unsettled with all these changes, or do you see it like as positive progress and growth for these companies?
As I said when I gave a talk at the With It conference a couple of weeks ago, I look pretty good for 153, don't I? I've been through so many cycles. This is just a very normal cycle that's exacerbated by being the tail end of the bullwhip of the pandemic, I think. So I am not worried at all. For me and Dixon, as you mentioned, we spent 16 years in the reinvention of Norwalk, from zero to repaying the investors and buying the company for the employees. At the same time, making it a force to be reckoned with in terms of fashion and fabric design. Yeah. So we completed our assignment and then some, I think. So it was time for us to try a new assignment as well. But we left Norwalk feeling so good about what we had accomplished there and what, so now, here we are with the new assignment at Hooker Furnishings. And so we're very excited about that. But I'm sure Neil McKenzie's feeling the same way, and Mr. Lovegrove. And, I think,
because you never know from our standpoint, like when you explain it just now, it seems like absolutely the way of things and a natural progression and all good. But at first, it's like
all this movement.
Wait, what do you mean?
I
You
know.
know?
But I think I
know.
kind of see it sometimes as some like new juice,
Oh,
like
yeah.
coming in, like fresh eyes coming into something that sees things that the company's just been used to doing. I think it's great, and I'm
Yes.
happy to hear that it's great.
Yeah.
Well, we're
Especially
a relationship
because-
business.
Yeah.
And that's
absolutely.
why I think you feel that. You're like, wait, I'm used to Dixon and Caroline. I know what they're going to serve
Yeah.
to me for lunch at
Yeah.
Norwalk, right? And so
yeah.
that's why it's a kind of whoa. But the good thing about our industry is when you know what kind of chefs you're getting, they will deliver yummy meals wherever they go, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
That's a great way to put it. And I'm so excited because, for example, we love like all the companies that we just spoke of, Four Hands, Universal, Norwalk, Hooker, but I can see in each place how, from our perspective, how you, Neil, everybody will make where you're going better. For sure.
Well, and
so that's exciting.
Thank you. And for us, I can speak for Dixon and me and Scott Canale, who have come over, that we're just so honored to be a part of this amazing team in the 100-year tradition that Hooker has. And really, Hooker has 13 divisions, 9 of which we'll be working with. And what we're trying to do is coordinate a whole home approach that's easy for designers and retailers to access the abundance of brands that we have.
Yeah.
When each brand was acquired, they had their showroom, their sales force, and their catalogs and could be discreet. But in today's environment, you have social media, you have websites. What was abundance can be confusing. So
yes,
our attempt is to try to pull our abundance together in a focused, curated series of lifestyles and moods that are of the moment, that are timely but of the moment. And so it's just easier to access for your projects. You've referred to it as speed is important for interior designers. You need to get in there, go to the website, understand what you need, and get it for your project, right? I mean, that's really important. Hooker has all those divisions. We just need to make it easier for you to access it quickly through a concept, through a system, through a process. So we're very excited about that.
Well, furniture, I remember when I first started in this business, so male dominated. And so, very few, you being the president of a company is a big deal.
Big deal.
And so as far as women in high level positions, what kind of advice do you have for them?
Yeah. Even in this day and age, we want to hear it.
And one of the reasons I serve on all those boards that I do that you mentioned is because I recognized earlier on, I've been the president of 2 different venerable companies, and now I'm the chief creative officer of another yet very venerable company. And that I felt like if I showed up and served and accomplished, that there would be 4 women after me on those boards or in those companies. And that has, in fact, been the truth. So I feel a responsibility to show up, basically. And I would say that for other women as well is, and I gave a talk at the With It conference that was amazing in Greenville, South Carolina, a couple of weeks ago. And there's a link on the With It website to the video of my talk. And it was all around being the CEO of you and how you should really, I've had several different amazing jobs. And what I've found is the skills that have made me successful at one has made me successful at the other. And my advice are some of those skills to develop. And you'll hear it in that talk. I don't think I want to dominate this talk about it all. But some of the things are, in design particularly, I find that women, we've been trained that we're not good at math. Well, that's not true. And you all know it well because you're very successful businesswomen. You have to learn P&L and balance sheet and the financial effects of your operations. Whether if you really want to be taken seriously, you've got to understand that stuff. And find someone to help you do it. You can do it privately, but it is everything to making good business decisions. All of my creative decisions with our teams come from solving a financial problem that shows up on the balance sheet or a P&L. So that's job one. Don't be afraid. You're smart enough to do it. Our culture's trained us that we're not. That's not true. You are.
Yeah.
So that's number one. The other thing I would say is learn good relationship management skills. They don't teach you that in design school. They don't teach you that in business school, but it is the number one reason I think I've had successful projects, which is I've had to learn how to develop good relationship skills. That is showing up. It is communication. It is, I have a great book that I like. It's called Handling Crucial Conversations. And it is, you're learning how to have positive outcomes from difficult conversations. That could be with a client, with an employee, with a boss, with a peer. The more you understand that you can have positive outcomes from conflict-oriented conversations and their skills to do it, the more you're going to wade in and solve problems. The more you solve problems, the more successful you'll be.
And don't be,
that's an excellent point.
Don't be
I love
afraid
that.
to communicate. I think people are afraid to, have confrontation, and it doesn't have to be a negative confrontation. Like if I have something that's unsettling, I've got to get it out. I've got to make it right. So I think
so many people can't do it.
And I feel like,
and they're skilled
women
to
are
it,
better,
right?
Yes, definitely.
And women are better at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
And I think that if we can learn to solve problems, so good decision-making skills, good problem-solving skills, we so often solve problems on the surface, but you really have to understand the root cause of a problem, be it financial, be it personnel, be it resources, whatever it is. The deeper you can get to a root cause, the better problems you can solve and the more successful you'll be. I'm a collaborative decision maker, not an autocrat. And so I like to bring the best people together in my organizations to focus on a new vision or solving a problem and bringing together a collaborative environment so you get the best of all worlds. I think, so I would always seek, sorry, I'm talking too much. You all.
No, you're not. I love it. I love it.
saying.
Yeah. Go, keep going.
Because for me, advice is seek out companies that are collaborative, that want to hear your ideas, that want to help you succeed through encouraging you to fail. All of these things are important to be successful. That collaborative environment's important.
I have two thoughts as you're talking, and I just love every word that you're saying. The first one is, I recently watched the documentary on Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I can't remember the name of it.
Unbelievable.
Anyway, and I think I was talking to my mom about this because as a very intelligent tomboy in the 60s who was forced to be a debutante and go to Vassar and all these things she didn't want to do, we forget, I think, the journey of women over the decades. And so the fact that everything that you're saying and the positions that you've held, and you've been at Storehouse and this end up, and you are the president of North, I mean, it's a big deal. And I think that point of showing up is huge. And then the second thought that came to my mind is we recently had a show with Jane Winchester.
I knew you were going to say this because I was thinking the same thing.
She is the CEO of her own jewelry company, but she started at Lilly Pulitzer for 12 years.
Yes.
And she had two male mentors who were Harvard educated and who were behind her cheerleading 100%. And they were doing all the things that you just said for her, and so that she could rise up. And I just think it's that collaboration that you're talking about, that kind of
it really is it really is a win-win.
Yes,
because if you
and you have to look at it like that, it's good business is win-win, not win-lose. You always want to, you want to win, but you want other people to feel like they win too. right? But
Yes.
also mentoring is important. And in my journey as a
Yes.
woman in business, we wrote a book, Dixon and I and two other colleagues wrote a book called The Pathway to Profit, and it's still available on Amazon. And it's about our journey, in turning around Storehouse, and the need to empower. It had Robert Curry, speaking of Curry, was the founder of Storehouse, and he left early and founded Curry and Company. And it sort of went to sleep a little bit. We had great people, but it just kind of went to sleep a little bit after his brilliant creativeness left. And Roe bought it and then brought us in to turn it around. So it had a venerable beginning. It just kind of went to sleep. And the employees were feeling loved, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought we were having to come in to do new real estate and merchandising and marketing, which we did. But we found we couldn't achieve the turnaround we wanted unless we empowered the employees. So we set out.
Yeah. That was a big takeaway from the book. I loved that the employees played a key role.
Yes, and
that.
It was about putting people in the profit picture. And that we think is really the key, the last competitive feature, because it's hard to do. It's gray. People think it's ooey gooey. We called it a pathway to profit because we thought if we called it the culture of caring, which is really the culture we created, people would think it was soft. It is not soft, but our theory is it's cheaper to care, basically. So if you create an environment that includes people, it unleashes this powerful motivation. And in a collaborative environment, you can achieve much more than you ever thought. So nobody tells you how they achieve cultures. We wrote it down. It's a step-by-step process of what we did at that place, and it worked. And I must say, I've used in different ways parts and pieces of that theory in every company I've worked with since, and it still works. It's their people relationship skills, their communication skills, it's communication architecture. It's stuff, but it's also senior management intention. The intention is so powerful. And if you can imagine it, you can put a plan to it, and you can put action to it, you can achieve more than you ever dreamed. And that works for small organizations and large.
And you live that. I mean, for those of us that work closely with you, you live that. And I just think it's a beautiful thing.
Well, it was at the ADL dinner where they raised $1.7 million to fight hate for good. It was amazing. But what I said there, and I meant it, is, I came to this end. Oh, sorry. That's my college roommate calling. Sorry. Turn off my phone.
Well, she's important.
She is important, and she was there at the dinner last week. But I came to this industry 40 years ago to earn a living as a part-time salesperson for this and that. But what I found is I found a life of connections and friends and creativity and personal growth and development. So that's one of the reasons I'm so devoted to our industry. And I will never forget, we dedicated a Pathway to Profit to Stuart Brown, who was the brilliant founder of This and Up, who created this company, retail company that we grew to 250 stores in 10 years. They sold it for $40 million after 10 years, but I learned a lifetime of lessons from Stuart. But at 20, I think I was 21 or 2, I had dinner with him in Old Town Alexandria, and he wanted me to go and open the Chicago district of 10 stores for This and Up. I was like maybe 21 or 22.
Oh my God.
And
talk about sweating.
I know, totally. And I didn't go to Chicago. I ended up going to Philadelphia at 23 doing that job. But I will never forget when I walked out of that restaurant, I was just walking on air. I thought somebody sees something in me and believes in me. What I know now is he was probably desperate for people to go do it. But the power of somebody seeing something in you and believing in you, that changed
so
my
important.
life.
Yeah.
And I wanted to
remember,
pay it forward ever after,
I remember being promoted to regional property manager at the age of 25 when I worked for Lincoln Property Company. And I look back now, I'm like, how was I even like mature enough? Maybe I wasn't. I don't know. I think I did a good job, but wow, like I can't believe same situation. Like, but it just gave me confidence for life that I stepped up to the plate and did it. And, once you do stuff like that, then other things come about and you're like, well, I did that, so surely I can do this.
Well, it's funny because I was watching something where a person was saying that they weren't going to do something because it wasn't their job. And someone else said, well, you don't know who's watching you and you need to go ahead and do whatever you can. So when I worked at a company, I was one of the secretaries and two of the salesmen went off and started their own company. And they called me 6 months later and said, will you manage our office? Same thing. I was 24.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember hiring people that were older than me, learning about how to order office supplies and do stuff. Same thing. Like they took a chance on me. They must have seen something. I mean, people can read other people. So yeah.
And you never know who's watching. That's such good advice, Joanne. Because at this end up, you only had one person in the store and we didn't have bathrooms. So you'd have to put a rope across the mall door and say, I'll be right back if you have to go to the bathroom. This was how humble our beginnings were. But I remember sitting there by myself, and thank God we didn't have cell phones because I don't know what I would have done then. But I thought, as long as this end up is paying me, I'm going to do something for this end up. And they really couldn't see me or know. But that made me drive sales further, drive profits further. And I've never forgotten that message. If I'm being paid today by Hooker Furnishings, I'm doing work for Hooker Furnishings. That's my ethics, my integrity. But to do the right thing when no one's watching is one of the key lessons in life, right? You just gave it to us. Do the right thing when no one's watching.
I think that's a great message for the younger generation as well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Have you ever gone to like a restaurant and had an amazing like waiter or waitress and you'd say to yourself, God, if I would hire this person just based on the way they approached the table, what they said, how they whatever. And they're probably college students, but you could see them being successful because they're doing a job that's not so fun, but they're doing a great job at it.
Yeah,
that's right.
For sure.
And when we opened 250 stores in 10 years across the country, you can be sure we hired a lot of people out of restaurants as we were developing sales skills. But then you develop a culture that trains them and gives them skills. And then they grow. And then it's geometric how it expands. It's a cool thing. And that's where... Go ahead.
I
was going to say, that's where I also say, if you're young, don't shy away from some retail experience because it's sometimes very low pay to start, but you have to learn selling skills. You have to operate. You have to show up. We talked about showing up. That's the most important thing. Y'all showed up. We showed up. You keep showing up. And you don't always have to be the best. You just have to learn to be the best. You have to get jobs that keep.
Work hard. Yeah, work hard.
Such good advice. So changing gears just a little bit, you guys at Hooker are gearing up for October market. It's right around the corner. So Joanne and I always, we have our High Point Trends podcast after each market. And we're curious as to how are you preparing? You were just talking about having that color conference. How else are you preparing, and are you seeing and also how are you tapping into maybe what designers like us want, need, or looking for so you can be prepared for us?
It's so interesting, this whole subject of, Dixon and I for a long time have been looking at trends. We started going to Maison and Objet in the year 2000, and you never heard English spoken in the aisles. Now you trip over a designer every aisle from America, right? It's sort of business tourism in a way. Now we were really going for Storehouse for trend work, but we have this incredible merchant team at Hooker that is also all over the world. We source all over the world. We are looking at shows all over the world. So So you want to know that the people that are selling you products and creating things for you are working on what's relevant today. I was a trained art history major for furniture and architecture was my studies. And we learned to look at patterns from what are the political situation, let's not even talk about that, but is influencing you, but what's the economic situation, what's the overall cultural situation. And then folks like our merchants and artists and textile designers are interpreting the mood and the vibe in terms of color, pattern, line, and design. So you have to look everywhere to see what the cultural trends are. So you look at social media, you look at movies, you look at TV, you go to the shows, you talk to the textile designers. So there are also several really, really good trend agencies that are digging into data and like Fashion Snoops. And for example, we had Fashion Snoops come talk to our Council of Merchants. We had a 25-team meeting in June, and we looked at all of our customers and what they're buying and what did that tell us. Fashion Snoops came and did a whole day of trend and color and mood with this whole team. And then, so we're looking at our own data, but we're looking outside, and then we're bringing the collective wisdom of our merchants together. From there, you'll see the secret sauce. But, and then last week we had a color council for the folks that really affect color in our world, which are the upholstery merchants, the visual merchants. So everybody that has something to do with the mood or color was there. And then everybody had assignments to bring boards of what they saw, and we came up with our color theme. So you'll see that in October, actually. We're going to use some of that. So it's a pretty big march it's a magic funnel. You've heard me say this before, but it's a magic funnel, collecting it, and then you work it down, and distill it to what then we show at market. And
so are you seeing anything that might be vastly different from spring, or kind of?
Well, it comes in grades. It's a gradation, and what we're seeing is the march toward. We're in Michelle Lamb from the Trend Curve, who is a very good friend, and we always have meals in Paris together when we're at the shows, and that's where we sort of digest. And Michelle is one of our most fun meal trend discussers. But she says and she used to do trend for Target before she started the Trend Curve. And she goes, we learn it's trend, counter trend. So for the last 20 years, coming off of, I say really, it was Alex Vervoet, a Belgian designer, who really created the industrial chic that then you saw in Flamand in Belgium, and Andrew Martin and Timothy Olton and all these people, that then was co-opted by Restoration Hardware and brought to mass world, all the gray, the linen, the leather, the washed driftwoody colors. We've had that for 2 decades now. And, Magnolia Home and all of that is a big extension of that. Well, there's the counterpoint to that is color, because there's no color in all of that. So we're starting to see color fighting its way up. But I think, in my opinion, and so the colors we're seeing are spicier tones, and we started seeing those in Europe before the pandemic. We started seeing boucle in late 18, early 19. I can remember coming back with this amazing boucle and going to the mills and going, do you have any yet? And, now, of course, everybody has it. But so we started seeing cocoa colors and spicy colors. The last maison before the pandemic was tobacco, turmeric, cinnamon, all those colors, and green.
And they're all
and
out there
so now we're seeing that get, rooted in, and we saw lots of dusty terracotta to ranges of red, from dusty terracotta to boysenberry magenta, so lots of that coming up. And then in greens, we saw lots of mossy greens, sagey greens, grassy greens from the natural. But we're seeing this kind of peacock and jade green also. there.
Yes.
Love all those greens.
And so, but and also mustard. So in Milan last year, everything was colors of gold, mustard, some yellow tones. And we see that as well. It's all a counterpoint to all the steel blue and gray. But
Yep.
when you're doing homes, and you all know, you still see cabinets that are gray. And if I see one more plastic plank gray floor, I'm going to throw up when I look at Zillow or Pinterest. But as long as those grays are coming into cabinets and floors, we're going to have to accommodate it. So you see that in fabrics that have gray but orange, or gray but green, or, it's interesting to see how it's coming through. So,
which is good for us, because there's still plenty of times when we are, having to work with people and what they have and work it all in. So we still need those textiles that have a little bit of gray or have a little bit of that in it, so we can make it all work.
Yeah, you just have to be sensitive to what the finishes are throughout the home that you're doing, and if you can't redo it all, you've got to accommodate it, right?
Yeah.
So that textiles have to then the pillows you're going to choose have to accommodate it, right?
Yeah. Well, we only have a few seconds left, but I want to ask you a very quick question. I don't know if you can answer it quickly, but this is for us here in the office. We have experienced a ridiculous amount of damages across the board, all companies, in the last, would you say year? It's been the worst. And it's causing our staff tremendous time, energy, expense to us, because we have to receive the damaged product, deal with it, dispose of it, blah, 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 blah. So why is that happening, do you think, so much?
I really do have a thought about that. And I think, and the business cycle is a little funky right now. I think partly because of the contention of the national global environment, but also because we're at the final whip of the bullwhip of the pandemic. Believe it or not, I think it's like a backwash of all the back. And, with the pandemic, it went this way, then it went this way, and we're trying to get so it's even, and we're not quite there yet. And during the pandemic, in 2020, there was such high demand. And what I saw in 2020, I was making custom upholstery, so we didn't see it so much in that company. But I saw with our retailers, they were so desperate to get product, they were buying anything they could get. And a lot of it was junk. And a lot of the import manufacturers, not this one present, but I saw were cleaning out their closets, basically, and sending stuff that was maybe subprime. So then all of a sudden the retailers get it all, or the people get it all, and now it's this glut of inventory. And so it's just been a messy period at the end of the pandemic. And I think this is the tail end of it. I really think we're going to be out of it by 25.
Because I'm
but
over
I think
it.
that's why you're expending. There was tough shipping. And manufacturers, I think, were cleaning out their closets because there was so much demand. So you might have gotten some subprime stuff, maybe. I'm not sure. But then if your goods were sitting out on the port of Long Beach for a month or 6 weeks, bouncing around on the waves, what do you think was happening to that product while it was bouncing around? So just think about all the supply chain issues. That's the result, what you've been experiencing. Yeah. So it should clean up. I don't think it's a chronic situation. I think it's the tail end of the pandemic. But it doesn't make it any easier to deal with.
No kidding. But we'll tell Lisa and Lynn there's a light at the end of the tunnel, so they can stop being so upset. Yeah. Well, I mean, we could just talk for hours. I just love you to tears, and you're so full of amazing wisdom, and
such a mentor to us, for sure.
Yeah. So hold on a second while we go through our
Can
quotes.
I say one more thing really quick?
Oh, yes.
What I think, you mentioned it earlier about your careers. I think one of the things that makes you all so impressive, besides your amazing talent, is that you're a businesswoman coming into the design business. So your wisdom of your careers makes you this remarkable resource that people think of you as a podcast or your great designs, but it's also you as a resource, and your wisdom makes you the successful duo you are. And I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Oh, thank
so
you.
much. Thank you. I think
you.
it does help to have worked in some grungy jobs too.
Mhm.
But all the business, even jobs that we didn't like, we learned from
Mhm.
them. So you don't
Yeah.
come out of the gate, starting at a 10. You
Yeah.
got to work it. You got to work it.
That's true.
Thank you.
This funny quote you thought of me?
This funny quote is so you.
I know.
Yep, right?
Okay. Want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thoughts and prayers because I just ate a chicken nugget and now I can't finish my Chick-fil-A or eat chicken for at least 4 months. Stash Birmingham. Did you ever have a piece
That
of
is
chicken
so Joanne.
that just wasn't right? It's like,
And
okay.
And she's like,
I'm
"That's it."
traumatized for a while.
Yeah.
I have to wait a while till I've forgotten about it, but it just grosses me out.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Okay, here's a serious quote because I thought this was so Caroline. Speak positive words into your life every single morning. Think big, think healing, think success, think peace, think happiness, think growth mindset. Always start your day with positive energy because you deserve it. And that's from Sylvester Storm McNutt.
You were
on
going to
Twitter.
say Sylvester Stallone, weren't
Yeah,
you?
Sylvester. This guy's name is so weird. Sylvester McNutt on Twitter.
That's something that should be typed up and put like on a mirror,
Yeah.
so that you just
Totally.
remind yourself that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, friend, if we don't see you, I hope we see you before. Oh no, we're going to see you in August. We're
You
coming to
went-
High Point for.
Yes,
Market,
but
yeah.
I'll be in Atlanta in July.
Oh well,
Well, we're here.
we will
Unset-
come and see
that's-
you. We're coming to the
You'll be at the show.
Mhm.
Oh well,
We will see you. I
let's
forget
see.
what day we're coming. But
Wednesday the 17th.
there we
All
go.
right, well, let's communicate.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
And thank you, Curry and Company. We so appreciate you, Southern. Thank you, Southern Home, for the
Yes.
feature. And don't forget to reach out to us, guys. We are still designing away in Atlanta and in Charleston. So
Yeah,
reach out to us.
We actually just put up a bunch of new projects, both on our website and on House. So we've gotten a lot of new photography
Yeah,
and some really
it looks really good.
fun spaces. So
Yeah.
look at some new stuff.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Join Joanne and Kelly for a new episode every other Friday as they continue to explore the nuances of the interior design business with the goal of informing, inspiring, and entertaining their listeners. See their work at kandrac-kole.com and engage with them on Facebook and Instagram at Kandrac Kole.